Okay, well, welcome everybody to Tuesday night. If you are just joining us for the first time, which I think, Sarah, you may be the only one that is joining us for the first time, but New Yorkers for Mental Health Alternatives is an advocacy group that is educating lawmakers on why it's important to have access to psilocybin-containing mushrooms, as well as other natural plant substances that promote neuroplasticity. Tonight's meeting, I'm just going to have I have a bunch of announcements. We have some exciting things that we're going to talk about and things that we're planning in the future. And Corinne, did you hear back from Amy about potential?
Not enough to confirm her schedule.
Okay, cool. Great. So one of the really exciting things that we are working on right now is Allison Hoots, who did draft the bill that Amy Paulin is sponsoring. She is helping us get a 501c3 established, because we have a 501c4 right now. And the 3 is going to be New Yorkers for Wellness Alternatives. And one of the things, I don't know if you know, the New Yorkers for Mental Health Alternatives has like a logo with the head and a rainbow coming out of the head. And I talked to Taylor and Pammy about potentially designing something with like a rainbow coming out of the heart. So like we could combine those two logos to, as a full body kind of thing. But along with that, we need to elect a new board. So the New Yorkers for Mental Health Alternatives, we have a board and we can't really overlap too many people. So we need some new folks to kind of step up. And I mean, there's not a lot of work that needs to be done. The treasurer position, taking care of finances when there are finances, is one of the more important pieces. And then we talked about probably even like combining board meetings so that we can, the board of the 501c3 and the board of the 501c4 are supposed to have at least one annual meeting, and maybe just, meeting together, and, it'll just be a big party. It'll be fun. So Pammy, I know you have to run. Do you want to go over the social media stuff that we talked about?
Yeah, absolutely. So Avery, Taylor, and I had a meeting last week about some social media changes, because at the moment, NYMHA's social media has been active since 2020 or 2021, but not a lot of activities actually happened. So we had several conversations about it before, but really had a little bit trouble maybe just putting things together for it. And I think that the New York Psilocybin Action Committee has been really taking precedence, which has been amazing, like news articles and everything like that. And Avery's been doing a lot for that. But the interesting thing is when Avery was in New York Times, it was for NYMHA. And so it'd be nice to have, even though it's on New York Psilocybin Action Committee and everybody knows it, it would be nice to kind of like push some of those NYMHA specific things to that social media. So we had a meeting about that. And we also discussed with Avery, it was interested in starting a newsletter that was more applicable. I don't know, that's not the right term, but a more engaging newsletter, because the one that's going out now was basically informational email, and something that is more engaging. And maybe have some sort of local stories, or some news stories and things like that people can click into and read more about what we're doing. And obviously, donation links and things to learn about different stories and things like that would be like a more well-rounded newsletter. And Taylor had nominated Brittany Dowell. So we have to have a conversation with her, or just get in touch with her to see if she has the availability. But we're also looking for more people to just be in the marketing and the sort of area. as far as like video, and then we spoke with Avery spoke about the YouTube channel being very important and wanting to get more things up there. We had an event during an adjacent Horizons event, but we didn't get a chance to record, but things like that would be really great, which is like a panel and just kind of keeping people in the loop of what we're doing. And that would be great to build YouTube for that. And then also a dedicated website person. We had Ruchi that was doing websites for us before, or she built the website. It would be nice to have someone that we could call on, like, hey, like if we have like, oh, this article came out that we did, we'd like to throw that onto the website. We'd love to have a dedicated person for that. At the moment, I believe Taylor has taken responsibility for updating some things on the website as far as like, I think there's an app tab that we have that we want to update. Just to have it more, just to feel more than just information, just words, something that feels like it's actionable. So she's taking responsibility of that, but we'd really love if she doesn't have too much on her plate, because we all have other jobs, we all work, so the little time that we do have, we'd love to be able to have everything that we can in that time. So maybe if Taylor can focus on social media, then we have one social media person, a website person, a video person that can help with media and things like that, and a newsletter person, then that can be like a really great marketing team that we can put together and try to get more visibility tonight. And it's interesting that you're mentioning your for wellness alternatives, because that might be another whole new, I'm not sure if that'll be a whole new team or just a whole new avenue of more marketing, but that's something that we can talk about. Definitely in the future we have to come to develop. But so far that's kind of what we talked about, and those are some of the needs that we will need.
And Pammy, so we met last Friday, and I know you sent a doodle poll around, right? So I know that's just for you, Taylor and I, but if anyone else wants to, dial into that to see if they, can be of some assistance, then, let me know, either send the New York Psilocybin Action Committee Instagram message, a direct message, or send me an email, and then I'll share that so we can kind of talk about how we can collaborate on creating resources for people.
Yeah, that sounds really great. If anyone wants to hop in on that meeting, I believe we all picked a day. It should be from 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So what I can do is I can set up that time and date and from the poll. And if anyone is interested, maybe I can shoot that Zoom link over to you, Avery, and I'll send it out to everyone with the ask that we have.
Yeah, and I know too, another resource that you just reminded me of is the panel that we did at the Rosendale Mushroom Festival with Allison and Aaron and Dee Dee Gopal, and Bill Brennan. Like that definitely needs to go up on there, but it needs to be edited.
For sure.
So we need someone to like take that file and kind of massage it a little bit, which it's beyond my capabilities. And Allison has put together a 36-page document of studies and their results specifically for psilocybin. And it's something that we want to be able to share with all of the advocates that we're connecting with across the country and across the state. And I would love to be able to put that on our website somehow, but have it not just a bunch of text like that ACT page. We need to spruce it up a little bit with something so it just looks a little more pleasant, because it is just a Word document right now. So
I actually have to do quite a bit of editing before I use it in my organization. So who's ever working. Can't do the format stuff.
Right. So did you include the edits in the Google document?
No, because I'm very, very stupid.
Correct.
No, I mean, I
self-deprecating.
made a very bad decision because Allison's already updated it. So I know now.
Okay.
That's PowerPoint Word, like interactive PowerPoint or something similar that you can use on the website, or you can just convert that to a video once you've done it.
So, well, because it's something, so we, and this, I mean, I guess I'm jumping around, but we met with a group of lawmakers and advocates that Kevin's gonna talk about in a minute, and we talked about needing common language and resources across states. And Alice, this document is absolutely incredible, but it's something that we want to be able to share with lawmakers in various states. But I guess, yeah, like a video, I don't know, like it is something that, I mean, it needs to be digestible, but also sort of searchable. So it's like, oh, I want to see how many studies were done with Lyme disease and psilocybin, which is a thing. And it's like, so I'm not sure. I mean, I just don't know what format it needs to be in, but it needs to be prettier than just a document, I think.
It has to have, I think, a clickable table section. Or
Yeah.
that's part of the issue, and then the first couple pages need to show you the research, and then the rest of it should be the science. It's too much up front. Oh, go ahead.
I'll take that right text or like that. It's like Notion. It's like
Okay.
and you can share it.
Obsidian. Cool. I will look into that, but it's, yeah. But these are all things that, we want to make a little bit more accessible for people on our website and spruce it up a little bit. When we adopted the NYMHA website, it was already sort of made and pre-populated with the stuff that the previous directors had done. And while we changed the board and added a little bit more of our messaging, we haven't really touched it so much. And it's something that I do want to make it more interactive because, like Pammy said, that now that we're getting a little bit more national interest, and we've had the piece in the New York Times, and we've gotten mentioned in like the RAND report, which is this was a 70-page report that talked about advocacy and the things that are happening across the country, and they're all referencing NYMHA, and so having that a little bit more flashier and attractive and useful would be amazing. So that's our goal. Yeah, I guess on that note, then Kevin, do you want to take a minute to talk about Maryland, New Mexico, New Hampshire, and all the other places in between?
Yeah, hey everyone, great to see you this month. So some of the updates are we had a meeting with a lobbyist who has written a policy paper that is promoting this idea of personal psychedelic licenses. And that's a little bit different than the specifics around what the bill in New York does that Allison Hoots drafted and did a great job with, where it's personal psilocybin permits. So it's not a wide range of psychedelic substances like this policy paper advocates for. And there's a legislator in New Hampshire who introduced a bill that would, with these licenses, create access to a variety of substances. But there's a sort of growing movement around this approach as people are realizing the limitations with the FDA model, as we had a challenging review by the advisory committee that voted against recommended approval for MDMA for PTSD. We're still waiting until August 9 when we expect to get the final FDA decision on that, but people are definitely concerned. And then looking at the facilitation model, which has been a great step forward, as we've seen in Oregon that has had it up and running for more than a year now, and they've seen less than, or about 3,500 individuals. So when you think through the scope of how many people need access to psychedelics, they're not getting it this way through those programs. And so we need another type of access that is responsible and safe. And that's this model where people get education. There's a health screening component, sort of looking for exclusionary criteria, wanting to be as safe as possible there, and then entitling them legally to purchase product that is manufactured, tested, regulated, so people can know that they are actually getting what it is that they say they're getting and the known potency of what they're getting. I think these are all important components of safe and responsible access and use. So some other conversations that are happening is trying to get other states interested in this model, a growing movement, and New York is one of the leaders in it, certainly. Conversations happening in California, New Mexico, Arizona, and Maryland. And even in Maryland, there was a bill creating a task force. So people who are active in this space and living in the state of Maryland are applying right now to serve on this task force. Applications are due by July 15, and that task force will then have a year to come together and make recommendations to the state legislature for what a access program should look like. And we are optimistic that what they will recommend is similar to the bill that has been proposed in New York. So that's a quick update on our efforts to try to get more support for this approach. Anyone have any questions? Easy peasy.
Awesome.
All right, I'll turn it back over. Thanks, everyone.
Yep. So let's see. I know Allison is not here, and I will include this in the newsletter. My goal is to have at least like something on the website soon. But this is actually, well, I guess this wouldn't go in the newsletter, but this Thursday, Allison is participating in a virtual discussion on legislation in New York, New Jersey, and Colorado through the Sound Mind Institute with other advocates and lawmakers, or advocates and lawyers, I think. And it's at 7 o'clock, and it is a free Zoom link. And it's Thursday, this Thursday, was that the 11th at 7 p.m. And then I'm giving a talk on the psilocybin advocacy efforts in New York at the For the Love of Fungi Festival, which is going to be down in Ashokan, which is a mushroom-specific festival. And that's going to be on July 27th. So if anyone is interested in more mushroom-centric hootenannery, then you can come down to that. I think that not a hoedown, a hootenannery. Yeah,
Is that a word?
it is now. It is now. It is going to go overnight. Luke Sarantonio has the Ashokan Reservoir kind of museum-like grounds reserved, and there's going to be mushroom forays during the day, and lots of talks and workshops and vendors and things like that too. Ashokan is about 2 hours. It's one of the reservoirs for New York.
Because I know we
or
used to
New
be
York City.
close to it. Ulster, okay, wasn't sure.
Yeah. So we're still waiting on Aaron to dial in. He had some work things come up, but the other thing that I wanted to go over, reconsider. So one of the pieces of media that I want to put on the website is the video that Sean took of the panel that we did at the Linda with Pat Burke and Jake Ashby. And then he came and interviewed Corinne and I and took some footage during our advocacy day at the Capitol. And they're putting together a short, 10-minute film on the advocacy efforts in New York. So that is going to be one of the resources I would love to put up on our website. And we should be getting that soon. And we have 2 screenings planned with panels with Reconsider. One is going to happen in Brooklyn and one in Buffalo. And I just heard back from Pat Burke today, and he said the venue that he was looking at, which is a church turned into a music venue that Ani DeFranco used to. What's that? Oh, but apparently he's friends with Ani DeFranco, and she is no longer part of it. So he's waiting to hear on that venue availability. But Dennis Kitchen, who is not on the call, he is also in Buffalo and said that he has some ideas for venues too. So if that doesn't, that venue specifically doesn't pan out. And I just wanted, with everyone in all these other locations around New York, where else should we have, a municipal level advocacy event? So I would love to hear from. I mean, obviously, we already did one here up in Albany, but maybe Syracuse or somewhere in the Finger Lakes or something like that. Utica, I don't know.
Where and when is the one in,
Well, it was going to be in June, but Colin with the Brooklyn Psychedelic Society had too many things going on. So now I think we're just pushing everything into the fall. Okay, so when Aaron jumps in, I'm going to give him the floor. The old business that we have to follow up on is, and neither Claire nor Sativa are here, but they made progress on the how to talk to your family about using psilocybin resource that we want to create. And I think that too should be its own tab on our website. But Sativa is a therapist and has helped people who have transitioned to alternate sexes than their birth sex, and has walked people through how they should talk to their parents about that transition. And so she had a lot of great starts for conversations. And then Claire and she brainstormed back and forth, and we have a document started that I think is going to be really great. So that's another thing that, I mean, I don't know web design, but it would be neat to have a separate tab that then had like cards with these starters on them that you could then click on that would give you a little bit more information or something like that. And then, I talked about all those things already. And another thing, so we got one donation so far out of the email that we sent, which was a $100 donation. And Chef David Stein, musician Chef David Stein here, has offered his services both as a chef and as a musician to do some kind of fundraising event. So I would love to resurrect the event planning committee, and then maybe plan something for mid-August. What were you thinking? When are you free?
I'm pretty much retired, so I have plenty of time. If I'm not doing a private chef
Okay.
thing, yeah, I mean, if you could get $50 a head for something with music and food,
Yeah. We'll
get 100 people, there's your $5,000.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
that's not that many people to shoot for. You need a venue.
Yeah.
And I think there's places that might go for
Could
that.
donate.
I'm sure there's.
Yeah.
And a lot of Elks places like that, if you give them the bar, they'll give you the room.
Oh, sure.
So cash bar, price to get in with food and music, it's a good cause, something like that.
Cool.
It's $5,000. If you just wait for dribbles of donations, that's gonna take a while.
Yeah. I like that. It's a good idea. Thank you. So that's part of the new business, is we're trying to push to get some funds so that we can settle all of the back end.
Avery, you gotta quit.
Oh, yes. Oh, you're leaving. Okay. Bye, Pammy. So we already talked about the graphics and social media, and we started a Discord, and Amy and I have been talking about that. Has anyone gone on to Discord? Has anyone used it? Should we? Yeah.
Okay, are you talking about in general or the?
I'm just talking about it in general, but we started a New Yorkers for Mental Health Alternative specific conversation roomy thing. And I think for these planning things, especially with people who are not local, that is such a great platform to use. So maybe if we can resurrect the event committee, we can jump into Discord for those planning purposes. Yeah, and then the newsletter is going to be more of a blog on the website kind of thing. And Mike Avella, who is one of the lobbyists that is helping us right now, he said that Corinne, do you know the newsletter that he mentioned, that's the state newsletter that goes to all the lobbyists.
Well, Empire Report is one.
The
Is that
Em-
the one he's talking
Maybe,
about?
yeah, but so that's the push to get an official newsletter up, is that the Empire Report would then share it and post it so that we can,
That we can submit stuff to them and they might feature it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. It's kind of a pay to play situation, so I.
okay. Well, either way, if we have a more like I do that with the mushroom farm, and it's people can look back at the history of things, and right now it's just in an email, and I would rather have it formatted a little bit nicer. And Taylor is going to work on some banners, so we came up with like 3 distinct sections that we'll just repeat every month, and so it'll be a little bit nicer. That's pretty much all I had.
General comment. There's a lot going on, which is great. It's terrific. However, it could be a double-edged sword. It's confusing. You have NYPAC, you have NYMHA. Now what you're talking about creating yet another nonprofit, which can, and there's a website, there's Discord. I get confused, and I'm in most of the meetings. Somehow it seems like things need to be streamlined or simplified so that somebody who's just curious or somebody who wants to be a part of this, like how can I be involved? Where do I go? It's a little bit amorphous.
That's exactly what that's what we're talking about. So we're going to get everything under the banner of NYMHA, and that's why we're going to use the website as and activate the NYMHA accounts and transition, because the New York Psilocybin Action Committee was something that we started before, right out of the symposium, because we were like, people want to meet, what should we call it? And then, but we got this nonprofit that then we started getting more press about. So that's why we're going to kind of transition to New Yorkers for Mental Health. And the NYWA, the New Yorkers for Wellness Alternatives, is just going to be a branch of that.
Like doing business. Like we keep the New York. It's the most
Right.
And then I don't know about the Discord. We tried to get consensus from a group that was involved. 80% of those people aren't here anymore, and even they didn't use the Discord. So Discord might be great for some groups, but the uptake was just not there. I just don't want to lose it.
Well, I don't think we lost people because of this. I just think that people.
I don't think we lost people because it's
Yeah.
It would be easy for somebody trying to get involved to be confused and say, gosh, I don't even know where to, how do I get a footing here? What are they doing? Who do I talk to? And especially we're reaching out to other states. There's a lot going on. If we're fragmented,
Well, that's why
we're going to lose.
Right.
some
Yeah,
of
and that's why
connection.
the website should be where everything. That's why we want to really. So
I mean, that really is a problem. We have all of this interest in stuff that we have all these things we want to do. We don't have a treasurer. We don't have a website administrator. We don't have somebody like coordinating social.
Yeah, I find myself saying, gosh, I think I have stuff to contribute, but I don't know where and how. Who do I ask? And so if I'm feeling that, I'm assuming that others probably are too.
yeah.
So what's at the top? The umbrella. What is the
NYMHA
So
is correct. So it looks like NYPAC, only because that's what we started under, and that's what's the most active. Because we have like almost 2,000 followers on Instagram, and I post to that to tell people where to go.
And is there a way to change the name on Instagram or?
No.
maybe change the name?
See, but it's just
Yeah, it's well, but New Yorkers for Mental Health Alternatives already exists, and like Pammy, we actually just found the login information for all of that, but like it has 32 followers, so that's why we have to it'll be some effort to move people from Yeah.
And that's a series of like posts every 3 days or something saying,
You're not scheduling that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Like I know there's apps you can download to schedule things and have them go out at a certain time.
Another reason to maybe do a very visible nanny, something that's gonna get attention. You can call the
Right,
press
right,
and say, hey, you might want to send a TV guy down here, we're doing this thing. You know,
Well, we
so-
talked about doing a press release so many times and it was never done. And that is part of one of the, now that we've actually gotten in national news, at least in like the psychedelic news circles, it's like, how can people find us? They search New Yorkers for mental health alternatives and they find the website, and like there is a Facebook page that was last posted in 2001. There's a Twitter feed or X or whatever it is, and then there's an Instagram that has nothing in it. So that's why it seems, we're doing all these things and using that name, but not using any of the social media. So that's why Pammy and Taylor and I are like, well, we need to activate these things, because that is how people are going to be finding. Well, we're going to get rid of the New York Psilocybin Action Committee. It's going to go away.
it's not anything.
It's not anything.
We just called it.
But isn't that the 1,000 followers on
That's what people
Instagram?
recognize. That, right?
So be careful when to go it away. I mean, that's
You have to just attach it to, keep the name and attach it to NYMHA for some time.
Well,
because
right,
People
yeah,
know psilocybin action committee. No, that's all they know. So you can't just take it away when they say, hey, by the way, this is our name. Or explain this, we're under NYMHA. Over time transition.
Yeah.
And who's where it goes in.
it's just under NYMHA, Google NYMHA.
What's that? Oh yeah. I've added pages on the website, but it's like, I put in the letter to send to lawmakers and a link to find your lawmaker, but I didn't make it pretty in any way. So it's just a blue background with words.
Sounds like we really need somebody who really knows social media. My private chef website is linked to Instagram, to TikTok, and I don't know shit about that world. And I know that I need to learn about it because,
Oh yeah. Well,
I actually had people's website built, and they linked it, and I have names there, and that's it. And I don't know how that
Do you have
world works.
links?
Oh well, I've done that with Color City mushrooms. It's about how much time I can dedicate to any of it.
Right.
Because I have zero
recently-
time.
I recently built my website and designed it. It's time consuming, but it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So it helped me.
Yeah, WordPress is good too.
Yeah, I mean, I can just give you the logins to the website. But the thing is the website is already linked to all of the social media for New Yorkers for Mental Health Alternatives. That's not being used. That's the problem. It's like we need to, and maybe it's just me because I'm the only one that's posting things.
You have to start blending too, so people get used to the idea that this is actually one. So.
Yeah.
Once people get used to it, this is the same.
And I transitioned to website. Never got. All the original says though.
Okay.
But it's really, we need a treasure. We really need a treasure.
I think Andrews, we're going to talk about being a treasurer. After
We'll see when I would be on if
I'll be honest, my mother was treasurer for years. Keep a, yeah, well, it was more like everybody passed away. But it was really just balancing the bank account more than anything and keeping an idea of where
always
it's
like that.
So if you can balance a bank book and know how to write a check as necessary, you probably be in good shape.
Okay. Is anyone on Zoom have anything they want to add? Questions, comments, concerns? Ideas for finding treasure chests in burning bushes or anything? Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you all for joining us. And I guess that's pretty much it. Unless I mean, Andrew, I want to talk to you. And yeah, really exciting stuff. And I feel like we're coming close to making some serious movement because Amy Paulin is she is activated, and this is an issue that's important to her. And I feel once we do these educational panels and things at the various municipalities and get other local lawmakers involved, it's going to generate a lot more momentum. Awesome. All right, see you guys all later.
Thanks, Avery.
Evening, bye.
I never came
See you later,
Aaron,
guys.
yeah.